Now, let me bring you up to speed because I've got a topic that I'm going to lead the show with. But this
Okay.
is kind of harkening back to a topic that I started last week. So, we discussed when the Mario Brothers trailer dropped and everybody was fucking getting crazy with Chris Pratt and all that shit came back up again. And I remember reading oh fuck. Some I mentioned some posts by Tara Strong that kind of made me look at things in a different light. Now,
Right.
since then, um I don't suppose you've noticed all of the news going around but about Bayonetta 3.
I may have noticed that my Twitter feed looked oddly familiar.
Yeah. And I got to say, on paper, when it first happened, and the OG Bayonetta dropped these allegations and whatnot. At first, now as someone out of the loop that's not in the know of that business, at face value, you're kind of like, sounds like some fuckery's afoot. So I decided, let's fucking ask a voice actor and somebody in the know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring to our format a good friend of ours, someone I've known IRL for 20 plus years. If you're OG to a previous podcast I used to be a part of, The Secret Levels, one of my co hosts from that, our good friend Vox.
Brother.
Hello, brother.
Hello, welcome. Vox,
Thank you.
recently, you did some voice work for a newly released video game
Yep.
called Undetected.
Yeah, it didn't live up to its name. Everybody knows about it.
Now, and
Oh.
I'm gonna have to call bullshit because I don't think you were acting because all of the things I heard you say in that game, that shit you say every day.
It's true. And the thing is, I didn't write the lines. Tony did.
There you go. Now, sir, I've been watching this Bayonetta situation pretty closely. You and me have
Yeah.
been sharing some correspondence over it.
Mm-hmm.
Um I don't want to harp too much on drama,
Yeah.
but since somebody else decided to open that door.
Gabe, what were you thinking?
I don't.
Fair enough.
um
But yeah. Uh,
well well, because it was interesting because like I said, at face value I was kind of like I was on her side because I was kind of like,
oh, yeah.
and then I asked you about it and you were very quick to like, you're like, mm-mm. And I was kind of taken aback. I'm like, you must know something that I don't know because I mean there were a few things she did that I was questionable about, mainly throwing
Hmm.
shade
Yeah.
at fucking at Hale there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that you didn't need to do that. That was
There's
kind of,
no reason for that.
yeah.
Just to be
So
spiteful.
what exactly are your thoughts on the situation, sir?
Boy, howdy. Hmm. So, like Ian said, we've been basically going back and forth about this as it, when it broke, and we've been following it very closely the whole way. And as soon as I watched her videos, while I was watching them, I just kept this little thing just kept clicking in the back of my head, like something's not right. Something about this isn't. There's something missing. So I wasn't sure if it was maybe the rates were off or wrong. They're not spoilers.
That's
Um,
that's one of the first things that I was like that I had to plead ignorance on because I'm like I don't, like I said, I'm not a man in the know. I don't know what the going rates are, and it's like
hmm,
the way she painted the picture. She was, I'll give her some credit for being smart, where she was throwing the like the numbers of like kind of like what the series is worth. you know? And it's
Which
like
fair.
when you're comparing that number to 4,000, you're just kind of like, well, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Hmm. And that 4,000 is an accurate. That is accurate. Especially if she's union, which she is. She's SAG-AFTRA, which is the like UK based one. Especially for what we do here in the States, we have the GVAA, which is also another set of pricing guidelines that you can go by. I feel like SAG-AFTRA is a little more performative, like theater, musicians, that kind of thing. Not quite so much video games, though they do have some rates. They're a little odd, I think. Whereas with the GVAA, it's like, hey, your union, you start at $425 an hour. Doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes of work. Doesn't matter if it's 30. Doesn't matter if you work, an hour and 10 minutes. That 1 hour just turned into 2. And
Right.
that's
Okay.
union
Yeah.
rates. So, yeah, and I figured my first thought was, okay, if they only offered her 4,000, then they probably don't have much dialogue for her. And they come to find out, oh, she's one of multiple characters. Okay. So that kind of tracks. And then it came out recently, oh, it was like 4 or 5 sessions at 3 or 4 grand.
Yeah.
Oh, so we kind of omitted some details. And sure, Platinum could be trying to cover their ass. But
What was it? One thing that made things entertaining, but I'm sure didn't help the discourse of things. I can't pronounce his name, but homeboy that just fucking
oh yeah,
blocks
Hideki
everybody.
Kamiya, yeah.
when
Oh,
he was
yeah.
when he asked when he was thrown in, like what did he say? Something about like fear my rule or some shit. Like
Oh yeah, his whole thing. It's yeah, his rules to be on his Twitter. You had to reply to him in Japanese, and I think it had to be relevant to some I don't know. I always just looked at him as like the crazy old man shouting at clouds. Like, okay, Hideki, go ahead.
But that's what made more sense because she was painting it like 4 grand altogether for the whole game. Like it didn't matter how much or how long it took. Like that was it. You're just getting 4K. Now,
Yeah.
when it was just like per session and then there was supposed to be multiple, so I'm like, okay, well that's a little bit more. That makes a little bit more sense. And then now I not being familiar with either of these names really because like I don't follow there's like maybe 1 or 2 people I'm like, okay, I know that person, but
If I'll save it till you're done.
but I looked and I saw on Hales that at the I mean there was a long fucking list of things that she
Yeah.
did, but the
Yeah.
one that stood out was that she was the female voice of Commander Shepard in Mass Effect. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and argue over like what is or what isn't the better game. But I mean, numbers will tell you that Mass Effect did a lot better than the Bayonetta series. I'm sure Mass Effect 1 did better than both of those combined. But it's like, I'm like, do you think that she settled for less or at 4K? And I'm just like, it's now, I'm like, now it's starting to not make sense.
Yeah. And I think there's a little bit of culture that comes into it. But the thing I was going to say is it would probably really burn her britches, Miss Helena Taylor, to know that I had no idea who she was until Jennifer Hale got brought in.
Well, I didn't know her by name. I remember I did have the first Bayonetta when it came out. Like I think like I was just at GameStop and somebody was just like, "Do you like old school Devil May Cry?" Because everybody was bitching about the fucking DMC game still, and which I liked, but so they sold me on that. They're like it's like that, but like crazier. And I'm like, all right, So I knew the voice. I didn't have a name or a face to it, but I knew the voice.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like David Hayter's voice. You don't have to see it to know it's
I
him. It
have
just
heard
always
his
sounds the
name
same.
more times in the past week, and for a man that has nothing to do with any of this,
I am
his name's
so
been said
sorry.
more.
He's busy playing undetected.
I may last week, Vox, may have drugged David Hayter through the mud.
Oh, okay.
In regards to that whole, I could have talked to myself in Metal Gear Solid 4 and they didn't need to bring in Richard Doyle thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Now, one thing that Helena brought up in her little video things, she did say something that actually was, well, her statement was only half factual, but, you know, it's the part that is factual that's the most important. At the end, she said that what they're doing is completely legal. She's like, it's just immoral. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's depends on a certain point of view, but her point of view is tainted in lies, apparently, so that doesn't fucking count. But this brings up the real central debate. Now, I agree that just because you do a voice for a character, you could make a career off of a singular character. And that doesn't mean you actually own it. But it's a weird situation, like, because like I said, it is. You know what I mean? Like, you feel weird about it. Like, it's right on both sides to varying degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how you feel about that, because, like, you know, we brought up Tara Strong, her Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And it's like
that character.
Right. Now, obviously, she has no legal ownership of. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't make it, but
right.
Would anybody care about Harley Quinn as much if someone else had been the voice for her? I don't think there's any. I don't know. Maybe there is someone else who could have done it just as well. I don't know.
Maybe there was, but what we have is the proof in the pudding that.
Exactly.
Proof in the pudding.
That she actually. I mean, that's one of the key points of Batman the Animated Series that I remember is her, Mark Hamill's Joker, and
Kevin Conroy.
Who did Batman?
Kevin
Conroy. Him as well. Like, I remember those three. Some of the other characters, I not necessarily,
so
although I do like Gordon.
Yeah, that Gordon is fantastic.
Now, no, I'm not necessarily saying that I would be a proponent of, like, you know, they should have made Tara Strong Harley Quinn and fucking Suicide Squad over Margot Robbie. Like, I'm not saying that. Margot Robbie, well in her own, has done something awesome with that character. I feel like for at least the first Suicide Squad, she's quite possibly the only watchable part of that movie.
She set the bar high for herself.
Yeah. But, you know, when it comes to, well, Warner Brothers is, I mean, now, I don't know. I could be talking out of my ass, and Vox, maybe you know something that I don't, which is very much often the case.
It goes both ways, to be fair.
It seems in the madness that is Warner Brothers, the animation department seems to be pretty solid, and whenever they do their animated move, like, I'm not saying that they had Tara Strong do everything Harley Quinn, but I know she's done more than one. Like, she's done.
Oh yeah.
And they're quick to go to the OG voices, the ones that are known and respected. So they keep them around, which is good. Yeah. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when the CW had its little Arrowverse shit going on, and they did their when they were ending Arrow, they kind of did their version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they had fucking Homeboy show up. You just mentioned him from Batman Animated. Kevin
Conroy.
Yeah, like, he himself came in as Bruce Wayne from another, you know.
Oh my god.
And it was like live action him, and I was just like, that's fucking cool.
I couldn't imagine. Have you ever seen Kevin Conroy?
I saw him on that clip there. Yeah, as Bruce.
He's a tall, lanky man. I could not imagine him.
Like he's not Batman
Pattinson.
IRL.
No, he is not.
So, now, what do you think? This is kind of my other main central question that I wanted to get your opinion on. And this was more what I was asking during when we were discussing the Chris Pratt Mario situation.
Yes.
Uh, when you have someone who's voiced Mario, what was Charles Martinet, I believe his name was,
Yep,
if I'm not
that's the
mistaken.
one.
When we've already played devil's advocate and said maybe an hour and 20 of that voice might be fucking annoying. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. But let's take that out of the equation. Let's just
Okay.
ignore that possibility. But
Yes.
what is the draw where you have somebody who's, it's animated like this and you don't use him and you're going to a celebrity? Like, what celebrities who aren't live acting celebrities who aren't particularly known for voice acting,
Yeah,
um and
because
then,
that is
like,
also different. Very different things.
what is it only just the superficial celebrity recognition? Is that the only reason? I cannot see an appeal. And I'm not trying to talk shit about any, celebrity
Yeah.
that finds himself in this situation. They're just trying to do a job just like a voice actor.
Yeah, they're just
But
trying to go to work.
but you would think that buddy, you would think that, other than, I know, Gabe, you brought up an interesting point about maybe Charles would be the one that's too expensive.
Yeah.
You made an interesting point, because I was thinking the exact opposite, but when you phrased it that way, you turned me around on that one.
No, yeah,
Like,
considering Charles' rate is like $1,149 a day, or I can't remember what the hourly rate is, but he also does like 30 cents per minute, and then, or you can do 5 cents per word or something like that.
man, like, okay, that must be one hell of a level to have reached in voice acting when you can charge by the word.
Oh yeah, that's
And
why they only had what's his name for Metal Gear Solid 5 only do so many lines, because he actually charged, was it Kevin, not Kevin, Kiefer
Kiefer Sutherland.
Sutherland.
Keep someone.
Yeah, because he actually charged by the word.
Yeah, that was what we talked about because oddly enough, they balanced the books and apparently it was going to be cheaper to get him than David Hayter because Hayter was going to charge more. So,
That's
I
funny.
mean, you can't make that shit up.
No.
It's weird. Like, you would think that if you, I don't know, it's just such a weird decision to think, where
But
it's like, you would think that on paper that, like, using Charles as Mario would work better
would be the
than,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. But like I said, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they tried that route, because dude is getting a cameo. We know that. Like,
Oh
he
yeah.
is a part of the movie in some capacity. But maybe they tried it, and like I said, they're like, I can't even fucking take 20 minutes of this, let alone an hour and change.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
all well
think
and good as, like, small catchphrases every so often.
yeah, that's the thing. We'd have to get like an extended reel to really see. But I think my favorite ignorant ass thing that I saw on Twitter, and I'm gonna put it just like that because it was.
I miss
I
these
don't.
days, Vox.
I don't think 90 minutes could be filled with sound bites. It's like it's not going to be filled with sound bites, you fucking cretin. It's going to be a fucking script. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people too. And we've talked about this with how people don't understand game development at all.
Oh my god.
I don't think they also understand the script writing process and how a movie is different than a video game in the sense that you kind of have to keep things going and you typically have a lot of dialogue, you have a little bit more depth. Not to say that games can't get deep, but in movies you have to get it into a digestible form unless it's Halloween Ends, and then you can kind of keep things going till you get to the 95-minute mark, credits roll, life's good. Everything I saw on Twitter about having the original voice actor in there, I really do not think people thought about it being more than quips, because you're not going to have a
Yeah.
movie with just quips.
No, that would be ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and the only other argument that I've seen in this is that, like I said, I still didn't even look it up. I imagine Chris Pratt has done at least one or two other animated things. Like I said, he's
He
the kind of
has.
name that, yeah.
Like,
I think he
didn't-
didn't do something with Tom Holland, like some fucking weird thing about like a pair of
yeah, it's a
pants and a
Spider-Man
dad.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah, there's the spider pants that he lost in his disappearing sand dad. Yeah,
yeah.
another one that disappeared with the car.
Yeah. Fucking Marvel did it again. um, but and then of course, obviously, Jack Black's got
Gabe.
he's got tons of shit under his belt.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't point out who it would be specifically. I think it might be it looks like the girl that we like from the Eggers movies, the blonde girl from like The Vitch and stuff like.
Oh,
I believe she's
Oh,
Peach.
okay. Oh, right
no
on.
shit.
And I don't think, I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure because I know people have said that there are people doing voices in this who've never done it before. So like that's kind of the other angle of it where it's like when you've got
Yeah.
somebody who's put in all of this time on a character and now you're going to somebody who's not even relevant to the profession just for the name. It's kind of like insult and injury, an injury.
Oh, my response to that always is when they do a live action video game movie, are you going to pull the voice actors to do the live action portions of it as well? Because it's two totally different
Right.
It's two totally different things. And I don't think people really think about that because I hate to harp on Metal Gear, but it's the one that always comes up. People wanted David Hayter and not Oscar Isaac in there for Snake. And I'm like, has anyone seen The Guyver 2?
Have you seen
Has-
The Devil's Smile?
What?
Which
I
I
ha-
love, by the way, both of those movies.
And that's fine. But thinking about it from like a critic level. Because the end goal on a movie at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about art, whatever, it's to make money. So you will be able to continue to make movies. Otherwise, Hollywood would have gone out of business in the 50s. But to bring in someone who might ruin the character for you, just because they sound like the character you grew up with, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to play it well in a live action sense. And it's that kind of thinking, I think, that we go back to. You don't understand game development, but you might not also understand, the filmmaking process, script writing, writing a script with someone in mind, like that kind of thing. It's horrifying.
Yeah, and when you get to the screenplay portions, oh my god, because we've started using those in the production for Gamelogica, like screenplays and scripts and shit like that, and it's just kind of like, huh?
Word. Well,
Whose footprints are these?
well, Vox, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to talk to us about this. Like I said, I felt I could handle my own on the Mario thing because I was a little bit in my own element there with the retro.
Oh, yeah.
But when the Bayonetta stuff and all that, I'm like, I got to call in an expert.
Hey, I'm glad to, and hopefully, I would hope things turn out for the best for everybody involved. But I think someone's career is
I mean, it
probably going to be on.
seems like it's
stage.
been over since 2014 anyway. So,
Yep.
just saying.
I mean,
So-
you could try to pull the archive stuff out of your ass, but that's archive stuff. That's not the same. Probably didn't see anything but maybe royalties for that one.
Well, I know that you keep yourself an international man of mystery, but is there any plugs you want to throw out? Anything you want to shout out? I know Undetected.
Oh yes, absolutely undetected on Steam. I'm not sure if it's still on sale, but it goes for $14.99.
Worth it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's not because I played people in that game. Anything else? I mean, you can find me on Twitter. At
Word.
Voxgizer.
Jess,
And-
thank you.
Just for 19 centuries, coming in hot with the running zombie.
Oh my God! And we got a Jess sighting tonight. The same night we got we didn't even just get a Vox sighting. We got a Vox gathering. Is that
I'm
what
just
we
happy
call
to
it?
hear. I'm happy to hear the smooth voice do a fucking thank you for a sub right there. That's taking me back right there. Come on,
One
sir.
fucking
I want
make
to.
one.
I'm not saying you need to speed run it, but we need more statue pushing.
Oh man, it's been a while. I might have to do that again. Hi, Jess.
All right, sir.
Bye,
I just-
Jess.
I have one thing, Vox. If
Yes.
you hop on stream just
Mhm.
one time,
Yes.
I'm going to be there. At the very moment I get the announcement, I don't give a shit if I am in the hospital on life support. My ass is waking up
Getting the
as soon as that
Wi-Fi
notification.
password from the nurse.
Give me the fucking Wi-Fi because I miss the speed runs, I miss the stealth, and I miss the Rambo readings.
Oh yeah, I got to get back on those. I really do. I want to try to finish that book one of these days.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Whoa.
having me, guys. I'll be around. I'm always
Word.
around.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, sir. Enjoy your evening.
Me too. Take care, guys.
Later.
See ya.